It is November 23rd, 2022. I'm sitting here in the Dominican Republic going, damn, like a good time. Damn, damn, damn. I want me some American food, man. Ah, man. This video is about Thanksgiving in the Dominican Republic and give you an idea how the food is. I'm not saying the food is good, bad, better. It's just different. There's some foods I love here, there's some foods I don't. And so, just like with anywhere, you talk about the good, you talk about the bad, and, you move on. And I can say this: the Dominican Republic doesn't really celebrate uh, Thanksgiving as a national holiday. However, there are some people in the Dominican Republic that do celebrate Thanksgiving. Very few, though. I mean, it's like not like in the States. We're about football and. I'm just happy, like, hey, the games come on tomorrow. You go, man, they don't even care about Super Bowl here. You can go somewhere on Super Bowl night somewhere and the game's not going to be playing. They might have some old boxing or some old soccer or something on, or or baseball or whatever. It's just not a big deal. Um, the Thanksgiving in America. And just like one of the things that I loved about one of the best subjects I loved about when I was teaching was that the kids and the students loved, even college students loved talking about the history of holidays because, most people really don't know the history of the holidays and the origins of it and how it is, changed or manifest in today. There's so many holidays that we do celebrate that it's actually changed from its original meaning. And so, but the first recorded Thanksgiving in the Dominican Republic was around the 1500s when Columbus and his crew celebrated it in Samana Bay. Right? There have been other Thanksgiving celebrations since then, but it's not like a national holiday or anything like that. However, just like in the United States, people are like, let's just get with family. We off. You know what I'm saying? Dominicans in the United States are like, let's be together. Everybody else be with their family, and let's watch, football or be with other family members. So that's how that breaks down. And I think even in the States, with even white Americans, African Americans, Mexican Americans, that's kind of how it goes. They may even eat their own traditional foods. You know, and I'm sure that goes on in the Dominican Republic. And, they may be like, let's just eat our own traditional foods in Thanksgiving. I know that goes on. I have a video here and I have the link in the description of a Dominican family celebrating Thanksgiving. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, the things that are very like, I'm gonna go over a couple of things before I get into. I want to give you an idea of how Dominican food is. Number one, they don't use the stoves. I mean, the ovens all that much. You rarely see them bake stuff. Usually, stuff is on top of the stove. You know, my lady is struggling talking about making macaroni and cheese, man. I'm telling you, man, they don't cook that macaroni and cheese like they make it in the States there. A lot of times they cooking that fake, that fall stuff out the box. You know how them old people is in the States. They be like, man, don't put, I don't want that. Well, that you find that a lot. Potato salad is different. Man, when they make what's this spaghetti and meatballs, man, they don't be putting no a lot of times they don't be putting no meatballs in there, man. You just got spaghetti and tomato sauce. All right. One dish that is very common to the United States that's not common in a lot of the Latin American countries is grits. you know um and they're not easy to find sometimes in some grocery stores and things of that nature. Where you go into American grits, you got all kind of grits. Another thing, shout out to you, Big Vin. You know who you are. He was a friend of mine, great friend of mine, was responsible for finding me some greens, man. You know how hard it is to find greens here. Now you can go to some of those tourist areas, but it's difficult to find them in the grocery store. Difficult to find greens, so they really don't really like cooked greens. And the thing that's really my pet peeve is vegetables, right? Like it's gonna be difficult. Like if you go to a wedding or an event, and people have food out or whatever, it's gonna be hard pressed to find a bowl or a pot with just green vegetables in it. No mixture, no rice, and not just green vegetables. Man, how much I miss my vegetables. Okay, so I'm not saying it's better. I'm coming from an American perspective, and so I'm just saying it is different. There's a lot of food that I do like, which I'm gonna go through in a second here. There's so many foods, but man, let me tell you, that dressing, never seen it here. Never, ever, ever, ever seen it here. Cooking a whole turkey, it happens. They sell turkeys here, but it's not like what we're gonna do on Thanksgiving. All right. And so let me kind of get into a little bit, since I've kind of gotten into some of the things that is I miss, because I'm telling you, man, I would miss some potato pie right now. I'd miss some great bean pie. I have a very good green. If you think bean pie is not good, you haven't. Just follow the look. I have a bean pie in the in my video. Just go through them and look. If you like potato pie, you will like this bean pie recipe. Okay, you just have to follow it to the T. Don't be making changes and things of that nature. But I am sure that I know that there are people. I have family members that are Dominicans that do celebrate Dominican food. You got so much Dominican food: sancocho, mondongo, mofongo. Mondongo is like a stew made with tripe, which is a cow's stomach. You have bandera, which is like white rice, red beans. I'm gonna go over some of this. Garbanzo, which is really chickpeas, ham, cheese, asapao. And you know what's funny? A lot of Filipinos eat that. Rice, chicken, and vegetables. Kipe, which is like ground beef, onions, peppers. Some of this stuff is really good. But let me go through some of it really slow. And I'm going to put pictures up of some traditional food. All right. You have empanadas de yuca. And it's like a floury thing. It's like you have wheat empanadas. They actually do taste good. Sometimes they put chicken, they put cheese in them. They just do all kind of fillings with them. So they have the seafood mixed seafood and vegetables. They have a dish called sancocho, which is like a stew, right? But it has beef, pork, goats, chicken, plantains, yam, pumpkins alongside. It just depends on how they cook it. And sometimes they have rice and avocado. Now, many people will say this is an African dish, and most Dominicans don't know. I would think doesn't know that. Now, Haiti has its own version of sancocho as well. You have batatas. You have different. Hilado de batata, which is like sweet potato, milk, sugar, and sometimes coconut. You have pastel de hoja, which is like plantains or juca. You have testones, and like a lot of time that's I would say that's the equivalent of maybe their French fries, right? Like American might say, "Give me French fries," and they might like give me fried. It's just fried plantains that are mashed together, and some people say these plantains came to this country, to the Dominican Republic, from Africa by way of Southeast Asia. Now it's been during colonization periods, it's been a essential part of Dominican cuisine ever since. Now you have what we call fried pork skins, but they have what's called chicharron, and it's the only way for me to describe it is it's more real. You'll see in the picture. You know what I mean? They have cassava, which is by way of Africa, where many people will say in Nigeria. And this is a very, they call it juca also. And sometimes they make cassava out of it, which is a hardened flat bread. And sometimes they put onions on it. And it's mashed together, like potatoes. One interesting drink here they call mamawana, which is supposed to cure all of these. It's a concoction of an herbal tea and alcohol, and it's supposed to made of honey and red wine, rum, and tree bark and herbs, and it's supposed to cure all of these things. Well, and it's supposed to increase sexual potency as well. But I really don't know, and I really don't think that that's ever been scientifically validated. You have fresh fish here. One interesting thing I think about the Dominican Republic when it comes to seafood, for instance, there are seafood restaurants in other areas like for instance, the United States. There's like seafood restaurants when you can buy all kind of stuff. I don't think I've ever seen. Now I can go to places and find us like selling fish and sometimes lobster, but just a seafood restaurant, I don't think I've ever seen that here. I know I wrote in my book how the fishing industry is not fully developed, but you can find fish, you can find lobster, and if you're lucky, you can find different types of crabs here. Uh, they have cangrejo and they have jaibas. And they have chin chin, which is a goat or beef. And another thing that is interesting in the Dominican Republic is like rice. You know how it gets down to how it gets hard at the bottom of the pot? They call that conco. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if there's a word for that in English. Hard rice is what I would, they actually put that to the side, and that's actually a dish. People will actually ask for that. And they have chivo guisado, which is basically a stewed goat. Most of the time they stew it. They have langonista, which is basically a sausage, pork sausage usually. They have different type of empanadas. They have mango, which is like it's an African influence as well, similar to fufu in Nigeria. Okay, it's mashed plantain. Sometimes they have onions on it. Sometimes they put eggs and salami. Crazy is sometimes they'll eat. I'm not really privy of mango though. They'll eat like fried eggs at night, fried eggs and juca. Now they have mofongo, which is sometimes garlic, and it's mashed plantains, and it's like the chicharron, like is like the hard pork, skins, and they mix this with certain things. They have the la bandera, which is a really popular food, and it's just like beans, chicken, rice, and like many times with a avocado also, and then they have these habichuelos con dulce, which is, it's like if you've ever eaten it's like a sweet potato. You know when your mom would let you, lick the pan when she was making sweet potato pie? That's kind of what it tastes like. But sometimes they'll put graham crackers on top and cinnamon and cloves and onions. And, one thing, and like I said about the rice, man, they eat more rice than Chinese, in my opinion, boy. They have the the guandules con coco, or just the more guandules, which is basically like, it's just rice and pigeon peas, and sometimes they'll put it in coconut milk. Asopado, which is, it's funny that when I was in the Philippines, they ate this dish here also, and sometimes they'll have, rice in it and things of that nature. But those are some really good meals, and I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you.